Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us here on the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. My name is Louisa Havers, and I help high achievers, entrepreneurs, and coaches lift the lid on life and business so that they can live at their highest value. Each episode, we will bring you our favourite founders, CEOs, and guest experts to share with you their insights and strategies to expand your wealth consciousness, your spiritual leadership, and aligned business strategies. We know that living in alignment with your soul's mission is what fulfills you, and we are here to show you how to achieve this in an energetically aligned way. If you haven't already, be sure to claim your free abundance activation in the Akashic Records. Go to louisahavers.com/gift to unlock your abundance activation today. And if you'd like my support in having aligned success in life and business, then contact me at www.louisahavers.com and let's explore together if it's an aligned match. Get ready to live at your highest value and to expand into your next level of money as you elevate and receive more. You create more for others. Righty ho, let's dive into today's episode. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's conversation. I'm so excited to have the fantastic Kia Eileen with me today. Welcome, Kia.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited for our conversation. There's been so many synchronicities leading up to this as well. So I'm delighted to see what unfolds for everyone who's listening and joining in the conversation in that way. So for those of you that are getting to meet Kia for the first time, let me give you a little bit of an introduction to Kia. Kia's story is that she used to feel trapped, lost, and appearing successful on the outside, but thinking like, who really am I? Now, huge transition. You're an integrative psychotherapist, a powerhouse spiritual coach, and on a mission to reframe impact after 50, which I absolutely love your mission. And you do this through the Build Foundation. Kia's not just helping individuals, Kia's sparking a global revolution of healing and empowerment. This is just absolutely fantastic. I love your mission. I know our listeners are going to as well. So a huge, huge welcome, Kia.
Oh, thank you so much. I am a woman on a mission. So yeah, and this is part of the mission, and our topic really is part of the mission as well. So I'm excited to be sharing everything that we're going to talk about today.
Oh, I can't wait. And we touched on in the introduction a little bit about that. There must have been some pivotal moments along the way, that journey from where you were to where you are now. How did you get to do what you're focusing on now, the mission that you're focusing on?
How long do we have? I mean, my story is not one of a sort of linear trajectory. I have sort of taken the circuitous route to arrive to where we are today. So much of my story is really about doing what I was supposed to do, what I was meant to do, being the good girl. And seemingly successful on the outside. I studied communications and PR when I was in university, thinking I was going to be this wonderful host of a TV show or something like that, the news, and then sort of my parents kind of said, "Oh, get serious." So I went to law school and practiced law for a while, and I started getting these anxiety and panic attacks, and I was like, this is not it. And I kind of always felt like I was going to die, right? It sounds a bit sort of drastic, but I was like, if I don't do something with my life, I just might die. So I was a really old runaway and ran away from the US at the tender age of 31 and came to the UK thinking I'd stay here for a year. It's been over 20 years. And in that time, I sort of began to understand my body and the signs that I was getting from the universe, and these, I call them little nudges. And I was working a wonderful corporate job. I was a sales director for a legal information company, and again started getting these kind of signs like anxiety and panic. And I knew that they were more messages than sort of traditional anxiety. So I started studying healing modalities in order to heal myself and to really get clear about my own questions, who I was, what I was here for, and sort of decided, actually, my soul feels better doing this. So again, sort of, I called it jumping ship. So I have a history of jumping ship. And so I left my full-time employment 10 years ago, 10 years ago now, to do this full time because it was the first time that I felt quiet and still on the inside and thought, I have to follow this feeling. I have to follow this feeling. So that's kind of how I ended up here. And then I've been working with clients now for more than 10 years, helping them to find that same feeling, what quietens and calms me and propels me forward at the same time. So yeah, here we are.
That is just so beautiful. And I'm sure that resonates with so many people because it is that programming, isn't it, that we just take on board and we dutifully go off and follow this path, thinking that that's going to give us that fulfillment. And that anxiety is pointing the way that we're actually going down the wrong path. And we need to be able to have that peace within that you talk about. I think
Mhm.
there's so many people searching for that
Yeah.
and perhaps not even recognizing that that's how that they would describe it.
Mm.
And that is that alignment that you are actually doing exactly, you're right where you're supposed to be.
That's it. That's it. And it hasn't been, a totally smooth journey. We know that when we start doing this work and when we sort of start to put ourselves out there, all of this stuff begins to rise and come up. But it's been a wonderful journey of self-discovery and transformation doing this work. And so I would say that, for people who are listening, who are kind of stepping out on purpose, it's okay if we get these kind of like little bumps and niggles and beliefs that pop up that are sometimes challenging. It's really a gift, to help us to clear that away so that we can step more in purpose every single day. So yeah, so it's a wonderful journey.
Love that, stepping forward in purpose every single day. That is fulfillment for me, I think, and what people are really wanting to be able to experience. So one of the things that we wanted to dive into, and I'm sure this has been a big part of your journey as you've been stepping forward in purpose, is this piece around as leaders, as CEOs, and it comes up time and time again when I'm working with clients. So I know this is going to be hugely valuable, is this bit around visibility. And I know your focus is your mission for helping people, women over 50s. So from your perspective, why is it important for women over 50 to be
Yeah.
visible?
I mean, visibility is a gift anyway, right? Being seen, heard, understood, acknowledged is a gift anyway. But there's something really important that happens for women over 50 in terms of visibility. So societally, we're sort of, we become invisible. We can become invisible over 50 because so much of our society is geared toward, young and, youth and, beauty and all of that. And so sometimes women can feel like, okay, well, my time is over, my time is past. But in my experience and in my clients' experiences, something really interesting happens as we approach 50 and as we sort of cross the bridge over to 50, we begin to really come into our own. We begin to really find our voice and find our power. And it's what do we do with that, right? So much of our identity begins to drop away. So maybe the children are a bit older and, they're becoming more and more independent. They don't need us as much anymore. Maybe our relationships are changing. Our parents are getting older. So we're taking on different roles and responsibilities in the home, outside the home. Maybe we're transitioning out of jobs or into new jobs. So there's a lot of transition in this time. And we can now begin to ask ourselves, well, if I peel away all of these labels and all of these other responsibilities, I've taken care of everyone and everything for so many years. Who am I now? And sometimes it's one of the first moments when women really have space to ask and answer that really important question. Who am I now? Truly, who am I now? If I peel everything away, and what do I truly desire? What's the imprint and impact that I desire to create in this lifetime from here moving forward, they may be asking themselves this for the first time. So it's a really important time of transition and transformation. I was speaking with a wonderful astrologer a few weeks ago, and she said astrologically something really important happens at 50, and it's called the Chiron returns. And we all have it around this age where everything begins to break down and shift, and everything that we've been masking, everything that we've been suppressing for our entire lives comes to the surface because our souls no longer wish to carry that forward because it wants to step forward in truth. So much happens around this time. It's really potent and really powerful. I mean, I could, we're going to talk about this for a while, but I'm really excited about what happens at 50. I'm in my 50s, and I've never felt more clear, more powerful, more capable of putting up boundaries that are filled with love, but that are strong. And my desire to be visible has almost quadrupled as I am really focused on the mission that I'm here to serve. But my mission to serve became really clear in my 50s. So, so much changes and shifts during this age. I feel great. I'm having a great time, and I can't wait for everything that is to come.
Oh, I love this so much. And I think there's so many pieces here to unpack. And in relation to what you said around having that clarity now. And what I was also hearing from what you were sharing was that it's permission to be who you truly are. And that's such a powerful question to really start to invite ourselves to think about, well, who am I now? And to give ourselves permission to let go of who we thought we were, or that version of ourselves that we needed to be during those earlier experiences.
That's right.
In relation to our soul's desire, and particularly I think women start to really consider, how can I fulfill my soul's mission as I'm in this chapter of my life? When you think of the aspect from a soul perspective, and I know you've spoken before in relation to it being like a divine right to be visible. Tell me a little bit more about that from your perspective.
Yes, absolutely. It is our divine right to be visible. If we think of it metaphysically, we are the representation of the divine in physical form. So the divine is all around us. If we look, God, source, universe, divine, whatever you want to call this kind of energy of creation. It is visible in a number of different ways around our world, in the trees, in the wind, in the water, in the soil, but it's us as well. And if we are hiding that, if we are preventing ourselves from being seen, we're preventing God's source universe from being seen. So it really is a divine right to be visible in our truest essence, without the masks, without, all of the labels and responsibilities, but really in our truest essence is allowing that to flow through us. It's our divine right, by the fact that we are actually here, present in this moment. It means it's our divine right to be visible. I mean, something else also happens in terms of divine right. Our visibility is an energetic transmission. So when I'm standing in my truth, I might not even need to say anything, but I can transform my environment just by my presence. So visibility sometimes doesn't even have to be about, shouting and, waving your hands. It can just be about this still presence of standing in my true identity, my divine identity, and just being present to that, holding that vibration. So that energy transmits. So sometimes when people think about visibility, it's about sort of, posting 5 times a day, or writing newsletters, or the doing. Visibility is really about being. Who am I being in this moment? Who am I giving myself permission to be in this moment? Am I allowing myself to be experienced in my being in this moment? And when we're standing in that energy, that transmits without us having to do anything, just in that being. And also, if we think about visibility as a divine right, if I'm being my truest essence and I'm affecting my environment, that has a cascading effect. And if we can all invite ourselves to be true, to be standing in our truest essence and owning our presence and being visible, and we're inviting each other to be visible in our truest essence, what can we create together? So there's a collective rippling that happens when I honor my presence and my visibility as this divine being that I'm here to be. So we can, encourage each other and spread this kind of wave of, hey, I'm gonna own who I truly am. I'm gonna speak from this place. I'm gonna create from this place. I'm gonna love from this place. And if we're all doing that, then my gosh, what happens next? What can happen next? Anything can happen next in this space of possibility. So that's why, for me, visibility is a divine right. Because if we're all standing in that, then we're all sort of being divine together and creating together, and we're changing the world just by our presence.
Absolutely love this, Kia, because it really is flipping visibility on its head with all the illusions and programming of, if you're a good girl, are you visible or not visible? And all those lies that we embody and tell ourselves.
Oh my God.
Whereas I'm hearing is that divine right to be visible
Mhm.
just melts that programming away, and it's a cloak that we can all put on
Together.
instantly together. Yes, yes, I
Together.
absolutely love this.
And
And there's so much, if I think about, women in our 50s, because I'm there, I crossed the bridge as well. We've seen so much in terms of different ways of being visible over our lifetimes, and grew up without social media. And so it is a whole another gamut of 3D visibility that can come into to play, that particularly, we didn't have to deal with as, kids. I feel for the kids these days, that they're growing up in a whole different era. What are some of the other ways that listeners, if they are really struggling with that social media piece, because it's the kind of piece that our brains are going to go to before thinking about actually that divine right of being visible, what perhaps some of the other ways that people can focus on to help if they are struggling with visibility from the social media perspective?
yeah, and that's a really important question, because we're all built differently. You know, sometimes, one of the things that I had to sort of really battle with, not battle with, but really soothe inside of me, I grew up in a generation where, it was actually said, children are seen and not heard, children are seen and not heard. So there was this kind of this silencing and almost an intergenerational, you should be, in order to be good, don't be too loud, you don't want to stand out. But depending on where people are coming from culturally as well, there's a wonderful book by Dr. Joyce DeGroy called Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, where she kind of studies, visibility and being able to kind of be visible and out in the world from people who are descendants of slaves. And so, depending on where people are coming from, generationally and culturally, there can be sort of many, many, many layers about putting yourself out there, feeling safe to be seen, what's going to happen when people see me and hear my message. So when I work with clients, we really talk about, those underlying issues, and then look at other creative ways where we can, share, our message and get our message out there. For me, I like social media and I have had to get my head wrapped around social media, but my sweet spot is speaking to people individually. So I love teaching. So I teach at the Holistic Healing College and the College of Contemporary Therapy. And so I get to really tap into the alignment and how Source wishes to express itself through me. And then I make contact with people in this way. So speaking to people, so what is the way that Spirit wishes to communicate through you is a really important question. It may be social media. Some people love being on social media and reaching people in that way. Some people are more individually minded, so being able to speak to people as individuals. So maybe there's networking events or community events that may work better. Sometimes people like working in relationship with each other, so it may be joint ventures or collaborations. Maybe they're, introverts and they love writing. So, oh my gosh, really tap into that talent and that ability. It's a really important question. How does God, Source Universe, wish to communicate through me today to share my message? You can also really talk to the message, right? Talk to your mission. Your mission is a creative force that wants to collaborate with you in order to be delivered to the world. So, how does it wish to be communicated? I got this idea, about 6 months ago that I had to start podcasting again. I had to start speaking to people again because the message wished to be communicated in that way. And it's also a way that feels really good to me. So, speak to the message. How does the message want to be communicated? So, does it want to be written? Does it want to be spoken? Does it want collaborating with other individuals? Are they great writers? Would they like to write a book? There are so many avenues that can be explored to reach people. Do people want to do courses and do evergreen courses or to hold workshops? There are so many ways that we can deliver our message. And I think everything is energy. So I like to work in collaboration with my mission, with the message, and just ask, how does it want to be delivered today? And then it's important for me and my head and my ego to step back, take a back seat to how Source wants to be delivered. And it takes a little bit of the pressure off as well, because I say, well, I'm not in charge here. My ego is not in charge here. And I let that energy just flow through me. Sometimes after I come off of a podcast or an interview, I don't even know what I've said. I have no idea what I've said because I've just allowed the energy to flow through. So I think the important question is, how does this mission, this message want to be communicated? What's the way that brings me joy? What's the way that feels good to me in my soul and in my body, feels safe in my body? And then can I surrender to that and take a back seat and allow it to happen?
Oh, I love this so much. This really is around giving ourselves permission for Source to lead, because then we're not making it about ourselves, and we're really able to be in that place of being visible in alignment with our divine right to be visible, so we can get that message out there without getting sidetracked by all the illusions and programmings. Thank you so much. I know you mentioned that you had a beautiful guide that you're going to take us through or something like that. I'd love if you are up for it for our
Yes.
listeners to receive that.
It's a really lovely short practice that I tap into quite often, especially when I'm really pushing myself. I'm not pushing myself, but I'm allowing myself to be more visible. Sometimes I can feel a little bit of stickiness, and maybe certain things are happening. Maybe I'm procrastinating and I'm like, okay, so what's going on? So some part of me doesn't feel safe. So I'd like to invite people to think about, what's the piece around visibility that doesn't feel good to them? What's the piece that is a little bit scary or a little bit sticky? And, I'm going to invite everyone to just really tap into that feeling. Tap into that feeling, that energy that sits somewhere in the body when you think about being visible, putting yourself out there, allowing people to hear and experience your energy and your message. Where is the stickiness in the body? Really inviting that space forward. in this moment and telling that space that it is safe right now. And as they find that energy, maybe giving that sensation a name, naming that feeling. Is it fear? Is it shame? Is it sadness? Sometimes it may even be frustration or anger, whatever it is, simply allowing it to be, acknowledging it fully. And then going into that energy and inviting a picture or a memory forward from maybe when you were between the age of, say, 0 and 8 years old. At any time, any younger version of you that steps forward, connecting to this energy. Just inviting her to become clearer for you in this moment. And as you begin to see her clearly, notice what she's wearing, where she is. And then if she's around anyone else, just freezing the environment around her so that she is free to move and converse with you uninhibited. This is her time and her moment to be with you. And so taking yourself down to her level, whether you're sitting or standing, maybe you sit down so that she can see you clearly, see your eyes and your face, letting her know who you are, that you have come back specifically to be with her. Asking her what she needs. And inviting her to tell you, to share with you. And you just take it in and you listen. And then you ask her if it's okay to give her a hug or to hold her. And simply hold her in this space as she shares with you what she needs, what she desires. Giving her this safe feeling of being held, being heard, being acknowledged. Feeling the warmth of her body and allowing her to feel yours. And as you hold her, you can share the message. You are worthy of being heard. You are worthy of being seen. We release all patterns of hiding and unsafety from ourselves, our bodies, and our ancestors. Your voice and your visibility is needed. Your visibility is a revolutionary act of love. You are safe to be fully seen and fully heard. right now, in this moment. And you let her know that she is okay to stay here with you in your embrace. And you will go forward and carry the message while she remains here, safe with you. And ask her if it's okay for that to happen. And acknowledging your role in keeping her safe as you step forward. You let her know that you can connect with her at any time she needs. You will be back to her, with her frequently, as you keep her safe, as you step forward, becoming more visible and following your mission. And you begin the gentle journey of coming back into your body, into your full awareness in this moment. Taking a deep breath in. And then releasing. Acknowledging all feelings and energy that is now integrating in your body. We wiggle fingers and toes and gently bring ourselves back into full awareness in our bodies and in this moment. And welcome back.
That was absolutely beautiful. Ah, thank you so much, Kia.
You're so welcome.
And as everyone's who's joined us in that experience is just coming back and allowing themselves to integrate and calibrate to that beautiful frequency that you brought in. I know you have another gift for everybody. Do you want to share a little bit about that so that people can come and find out more about your world and to receive that gift?
Amazing, amazing. So I will be sharing, you will have the link, but it will also be on my website. It's the Age of Empowerment. So I call being in our 50s the Age of Empowerment. So it's the Age of Empowerment workbook. So 5 tools and techniques to really help our women tap into the fullness of who they are. So they'll have a lovely workbook to download. I think it's about 15 pages, loads of exercises and journaling prompts to really help kind of, concentrate and align everything that we are. So that will be gifted to the audience. And I hope, they use it and they enjoy it. And it's something that they can return to again and again. So it's my pleasure to give that.
Thank you so much. And of course, everyone can re-listen to this podcast to receive that guided meditation that you just took us through again, because that was really, really powerful. The beings were surrounding us as you guided us through that. So truly, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody who has joined us in this conversation. Please do come and find us on social media. Let us know what you thought, what resonated for you in this conversation, and please do share this episode with every woman who's over 50 who will benefit
Please.
from this conversation.
The silver army. Let's do it.
I love it, the Silver Army. So that's so fantastic. Thank you so much, Kia. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Love being here. Thank you.
You're so welcome. And thank you everyone who's tuned in and listened. And until our next time, sending you all off with lots and lots of love. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Infinite Prosperity Podcast. And if you like what you've heard and want to know more, please go to louisahavers.com. We just appreciate you so much. So thank you for listening and hanging out with us. If there's anything that we can do for you, you can email us at louisa@louisahavers.com. Let my team know if you have any ideas for shows that you'd love to hear or topics you want me to talk about. Really looking forward to hearing from you. All right, that is it for this week, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for today. Looking forward to connecting with you again. Until next time, namaste.